Hi everyone, this is Kelly and I'm just here to do a quick update video on my For Love of Divination reference book. If you've been following my channel for a while, you probably have seen this before. This was my little white book of divination that I'm still, as you can see, I haven't gotten rid of it because I'm still really proud of it. It was a lot of handwriting, and I do not like to handwrite things at all. And it was great just to have as a reference if I just wanted to quickly look something up. And the other thing that was always in the back of my mind is that, you know, at some point I won't be here, and I would like not to be more. I'm not feeling, that's not said in a morbid way, but the fact of the matter is I won't always be here. And I would like for my daughter and any grandchildren, nieces, nephews, great nieces, great nephews, that want sort of just the basics of how I felt about the things that were important to me. So I always kind of saw this as doing the work for myself, but then also having it as something that my daughter has someday down the road when she wonders, if she wonders, right? So it, you know, it was worth the work for that. It needed to be updated, and I had done classes on a lot of the systems that are in here, and so and a lot of people had asked if I would make it in a form that could be printed. And so in 2020 I did that. I went through and put it into a format that could be either just looked on digital with an iPad or phone or something like that, with a PDF. And formatted it so that it could get printed on Lulu if somebody, including myself, wanted to do so. Now, it was by no means perfect. There were definitely some spelling errors and formatting errors, and you know, it was good. I was happy with it. It wasn't perfect, but I was happy with it. And it served me very well. I have definitely added things in. Whether I've written on the pages, I've tipped in things where I wanted some more information. I didn't think of this as something to be not messed with, right? This to me is a working thing to write things on. This was my charm casting set, which I obviously shifted things around, scribbled things out. I definitely need to redo this on both my fairy tale and my regular set. I tweaked the way that I did the casting of the sevens. Obviously I have spreads in here, just as I had spreads in the back of this book as well. And I, you know, had different notes and things in the backwards. Back's where I probably stuck the most things. I had some information on the date, the astrological dates of the Wheel of the Year, because this is I do a lot of Wheel of the Year and Year Ahead readings, so it was good to have it. Some basic things on my past life charts, some more geomancy stuff I wanted added in. All my Death Day stuff I just scanned from here and put in because I did not want to rewrite that, and I couldn't add that to be printed as it's not my system, obviously, and it's a more modern system, so I couldn't just write my take on that. Stuff on my Nellie's deck that I'm forever working on. Some things on the Cosmovisions, my tweaking of the Cosmovisions tableau, the way that I do past life readings, my Oracle of Place stuck in there. So I definitely used the notes section to tape, and that worked really well. The Lulu paper is quite sturdy, and it takes to taping things in quite well. So no issues there. But I did want to go in, and there was two reasons that made me decide to update. Well, I've been wanting to update it, but I didn't have a strong motivation to do so. The main reason that I wanted to do it is that I did want to expand the runes, because I'm now using the full Anglo-Saxon set, and I wanted to expand the Oghams because I've been using the Forfetta in a particular way, and so I wanted to add some of that back into here. And so I wanted to update that. But then when I did my planner, if you follow any of my planner stuff, you know that I've switched to disc binding, and I definitely thought this would be a great time to tweak this so that I could print it out in half letter format and be able to more tipping in sheets, and be able to make the edits that I want, add the things that I want, but format it so that I can print it off myself and put it into Discbind, because then I can just add whatever I want to add in. At some point, you know, when I make a mess out of it, then I can make a, you know, full reprint of it, but it makes it a lot easier to add things in. So that is what I did. It ended up being a much bigger chore than I thought, because I didn't, two things. I shift publishers, so I went from InDesign, which I've used for a very long time, to Affinity Publisher. And the other thing is that I didn't export the whole thing out as a package, like with all of the images. If you can imagine that each one of these little symbols, each OM, each rune, like these are individual image files, and a lot of these things. And I didn't save things correctly, so that it was very easy to be able to just go in and tweak it, and so I had to do some workarounds. Anyways, it was interesting, but I just did the best I could to make it shifted and set it up so that I could print it out on it can still be printed out on Lulu. The second edition can still be printed out on Lulu, or it can still be just downloaded as a PDF to look at on your computer or on your devices, or it has now a half letter printout, which also can work on people who use in Europe that use A4, is it A4s? Your letter size and cut in half. It still, from my understanding, will work there. To be able to put it into a binder of some sort, whatever that sort might be for you. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to make sure to put a video out is that if you have already purchased this half letter format is in the link that you already have from having purchased it. You don't have to repurchase it to get the second edition. The second edition has expanded the runes, expanded the OMs, added in my Oracle of Place and my basic stuff for Nellie's deck. Added some extra things in with geomancies, little things that have been tweaked here and there. The main things, though, I would say, is the runes and OMs being expanded. There's an expanded bookshelf. We'll look through it real quick here. So there's an index here on the front. My intentions, this is not a book that is intended to teach you any of these things. It is a reference book. This is my little white book, so that if I just want to quick look up a base keyword or something, or some way that I've landed on something, I can just quickly do so. That's what the purpose of this is. There's nothing in here about how to actually deal with or learn a system. It's just, again, a little white book. So that's obviously tarot. Goes into the major arcana, the minor arcana, some key information about Marseille style tarot. Goes into Lenormand with MasterCards that I use for Lenormand if I'm doing the Kipper Master Method. Again, all the basics there, the two ways of looking at the Grand Tableau. Kipper with the Master Cards and just, again, base keywords, the Grand Tableau. My basic playing card. I have added in the Mystic Textbook pip shapes because that's something I use a lot now, so that has been added into that. Anglo-Saxon runes, again, same thing as per usual, has the 3 rune poems that are, if that rune has all 3, it has basic keywords and some alternative meanings as well. If it is something that has shifted in the Anglo-Saxon, I have both, so Anzus and Os here. Same thing with Kenaz and Ken. So if there are shifts like that, those are in there as well. And then I've just added in the Anglo-Saxon extras that I use, that I work with, are there as well. Same OMs as per usual. Again, I have just added in the Forfetta, which are the 5 extra runes that are only, or OMs that are only seen in, they're the diphthongs, that are generally only seen in manuscripts, but I have, in my last OM class that we took, or that I taught, we had some epiphanies, and so I wanted to have those tipped in there, as well as some of the things that we worked with in the in that intermediate OM class. My journey system's in here, just the basic keyword for each of the symbols, the roll tables for plants, crystals, animals, and a roll for OMs. A Orc of Place, just really keywords here. A base keyword, how it's broke down by suit, and how it's broke down by the 5 realms. That's just something I like to have access to. And just a single keyword of my Nelly's deck, which will be coming out sometime, but I do like to quickly be able to access just a single keyword. Geomancy, I've just added some things that I found myself looking for, like what were the 2 that were associated with the sun, each of the planets. So I added that in. Obviously we have all of the basics. The entering, exiting, and liminal energy, I use this a lot now, and I wanted that in there. The original Arabic meanings, I really have found that to be quite interesting, so that was tipped in, so I added that in as well. And then the modes of perfection, so I'd added some things that I had tipped in. Astrology, pretty much the same, except for I added the Wheel of the Year of both the Northern Hemisphere and the Southern Hemisphere astrological dates, not based on the festivals, because I like to access that information. I also added in a little aromancy, just because I like to access these basic informations in my aromancy. If you took my aromancy and scrying workshop, or our tracking weather, I just like to grab those real quick and have those at my fingertips, so those are added in. Obviously these are still here for putting in charm casting sets. I tweaked, if you've ever taken a casting class with me where I talked about casting the 7s, this is just casting a a polyhedral set of dice and using that for divination. Obviously 4 of them make up the 4 elements, but then I also kind of changed up the way that I use the percentile dice, so I have that there as well. And then just a quick key in for the geomancy figures that are made with that casting system. Then I have the same section for spreads. I went through this time. This would have been the 3rd time I would have had to have written out all my spreads. So for myself, I just made each one of my main, so far, they're my main ones that are in my shop. These are all, not all of these are readings I do in my shop, but most of these are readings that I do in my shop, and so they're all kind of lined out, and that way I don't have to rewrite those the next time. And if I add another spread in, I can just literally add it in and stick it in. And I do have some graph paper to scribble, because I do like to test out spreads. So I have that, and then I have the same note section. Right now there's nothing in there because it's all the stuff that was in my notes is mostly in here. I am going to type up a spread for myself. I'm gonna definitely put all of these desk days, finally type all of this up. It's going to be a bit of a pain, but I am going to do that so that I don't have to keep scanning this and popping it and pasting it in back there, and I can just stick it in mine with that. And let's see, so that's just notes. Again, I expanded, I had a few. My way of keeping reference books is to have 2 or 3 for each system that is of interest to me. I prefer to keep it around 2, but that's not always the same with every system. So I just kind of broke down what are major books that I have on my bookshelf, so I am willing to recommend them for different topics. So that's just been expanded. And then I did make an extra file for people who wanted to add in an inventory. That's for my friend Deirdre. She wanted to be able to inventory this way, especially because she's planning on doing a half letter. So like if she's in tarot, you know, in the section on tarot, then she might at the end of the tarot stick in an inventory with like her favorite tarot decks, with, you know, playing cards, or favorite playing cards, so on and so forth. Or you could just have a section where you list all your decks if you don't have as many as me, or your favorites, you know, or something like that, that you can do that. So I just stuck those back in the back. So that's just a quick look at the updated second edition of my For Love of Divination. It is on my website. I will put a link below. It's $10 for the digital files. You get the PDF to look at online, or, you know, on your phone or however you want to look at a PDF. You get the half letter PDF that allows you to print it in booklet form. And then you also get a link to Lulu if you want to have it printed out and bound on Lulu. You're welcome to do so. I don't get any extra money for that. I just put it at the base price. You can always watch for coupons for Lulu and get it at discounted prices if you want. But that's up there. Again, this has been up there for about 2 years now. And again, if you already have this, if you've already purchased this in the past, you can use that same link and that the updated version, as well as the half letter printable booklet form one, is in that same thing. You do not have to repurchase it to get that second edition update. So okay, I hope that you've enjoyed, you know, in a couple ways. Even if you already have this, and or you're not interested in this, it does definitely show you what, you know, somebody's little white book, larger white book now, might look like. And so hopefully, if nothing else, that is interesting to you. But either way, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night, wherever it might be.